just need to get the questions because
Perfect.
I wasn't allowed to change my questions, so it's going to be the same thing I asked you last time.
Okay, no problem.
So, so how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, my Thanksgiving was very nice. Your, me and Minu went, and Jericho all went on a little vacation.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the beach, and we
Hmm.
stayed at a hotel, and me and Jericho were jumping in the waves. It was a really nice beach. It's kind of a weird thing to do for Thanksgiving, right? Go to the beach.
Yeah, but then at the same time, not really.
Yeah, I know. Some people live at the beach, right? Where else are they going to have Thanksgiving?
Yeah. So can you tell me about where you grew up and what your childhood was like?
Yeah. Um, I grew up in San Jose, California,
Mm-hmm.
and just growing up was good. I got to go, I had a lot of outside time to, when I was at home, there was, I was able to go outside whenever I wanted. So I did a lot of tree climbing and running around, and I lived close to these little hills. So
Mm-hmm.
me and my buddies would always climb up on top of the hills and go hiking. And,
Did you find anything interesting when you went hiking? When I was in fifth grade or something, the wilderness near the back of my elementary school, Robertson, is known for having a bunch of rattlesnakes and coyotes. Did you see anything like that when you were hiking?
oh yes, oh yes, we saw a lot of rattlesnakes because those rattlesnakes, they like to sunbathe.
Mm-hmm.
They like to come out and just relax in the open sun. So we saw a lot of those. We tried to avoid them. We did a pretty
Yeah.
good job. Nobody got bit. But I will tell you that I got poison oak all the time.
That sucks.
It was horrible. It was horrible. I got it all the time. It took me many years to learn my lesson.
Has your life been different from what you imagined as a teenager?
uh, well, maybe when I was a teenager, I had higher expectations of what
Mm-hmm.
I thought my future would be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that where I'm at now is a very realistic and happy place for me to be with my career and my family.
Do you feel like you could have achieved those high expectations you had as a teenager, or was it something like you were going to be an astronaut?
You know, yeah, no, I could have because I think when I was younger, there were two jobs that I was really interested in,
Mm-hmm.
being a firefighter
Mm-hmm.
and being a volcanologist or someone who studies volcanoes.
I can see you being a firefighter.
Yeah, I was very close to doing it, but I got into construction and it paid very well at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of skipped the schooling that I would have needed to become a fireman. So I'm a glazer in construction where I install mirrors or in glass and architectural metal to all these
Yeah.
buildings.
What were some of your favorite things to do during school?
Uh, some of my favorite things to do in school. Well, I would say writing. Writing in school, writing stories and in my English class in general. I don't know why I liked English so much, but I had a connection with it. And when I was able to put a pen to paper and write
Mm-hmm.
down, it did great things for me, and I really enjoyed it.
I feel like the only thing I don't like about English is that they make you read a book for a quiz, but then the quiz has nothing to do with the book. Like, yeah, yes, they might go over some plot points, but most of the plot points are like, who said this? And then, based on what you've read in the book, what do you think, what do you think this means? Or,
Yeah.
like, what is, let's say, what is Hanukkah? If you're reading a book about that has a Jewish main character, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's like they want to know how you feel about the book and what you learned from the book more than the actual text from the book.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess some of it is something that if you were paying close attention, you would probably get, like, what certain things are. But if you're like me and you're more interested in the character itself, you you probably just forget all of these things.
Yeah. And, I heard once that the average person forgets 70% of what they read.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the point of you saying if you're enjoying the character, you're going to read faster in between other topics. And then when you get to the part you like, you really get into it. That's the stuff you remember. I'm the same way.
Uh, what were some of the challenges you faced growing up?
I think a big challenge I faced while growing up was probably trying to deal with not having my mom and my dad in the same household because they got divorced.
Hmm.
And that made things very difficult and confusing for me and hard to get. I don't know. Hard to get the teachings I needed, I guess you could say, from both my parents.
Mm-hmm. And how did the challenge impact you? And did you ever find out a way to overcome it?
I did find out ways to overcome it. I'm not actually sure what ways they are. I think I just changed as a person and came into acceptance of it. But I think that just accepting both of my parents for who they are as growing through my life and through time, I think that they both taught me a lot in their own ways. And I didn't realize a lot of that until I became, maybe 20, 22, 23. I started noticing a lot more about the things they taught me, through my own experiences as an adult.
Hmm. Uh, by the way, let me stop this half of the recording for me and make sure that the audio is coming through. One moment.
Okay.
Let me just start another. Okay, so I just started a new recording to go through the rest of the questions so that I at least have half of it for the transcript if the first half fails, and if your recording fails in your end.
Perfect. We're protecting ourselves. I love it.
Yeah. Are there any funny stories people tell you from when you were growing up?
Uh, well, when I was a kid, I used to sleep talk and sleepwalk a lot. So, and I would do this thing where when I wake up and I would sleepwalk, I wouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
I would see my dreams while I'm kind of awake, like if you're half asleep. So
Lucid dreaming?
lucid dreaming, lucid dreaming. I'm not sure exactly what lucid dreaming means. I looked it up once and I think it might be called hypnagogic dreaming,
Mm.
where you wake up from your dream, but the visuals are in front of you instead of your own reality, but you are awake at the same time. Kind of like a night terror, except not paralyzed.
Yeah.
So there were some funny situations from then but I kind of grew out of that.
Would you mind sharing one of that situation?
Oh yeah. Well, I would often, when I first started working in construction,
Mm-hmm.
I would wake up in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I would sit up in bed,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just have this feeling inside of me, this urge that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm at work in my underwear because I sleep in my underwear. So I'm at work in my underwear, right? And I sit up in bed and I see people on the other side of my room carrying something heavy, and they're like, "Man, open that door for me." And I see the door. So I get up out of bed, I go try to open the door, but
The door is not there.
like I'm digging in my closet, and then I'd wake up out of it and I'd be like, "Man, it got me again. Gotta go back to sleep."
Yeah, that's funny. Do you still sleepwalk or sleep talk?
I sleep talk a lot still. I don't really sleepwalk anymore.
All right. What have you accomplished so far personally?
Sorry.
What have you accomplished so far personally and professionally that made you the proudest, and why?
Well, personally, I'm very proud of my family, my wife and my son, and the times that we get to enjoy together and the way that we work together as a team to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
I have pride in that on a personal level. And on a professional level, I joined I'm a part of a union in my construction field. So I joined the union, and before I got out of the apprenticeship program, I was already running work. And I had people that were 15, 20 years in the trades that were, that I was in charge of, basically. And I think it's awesome that I excelled so fast in my trade.
Yeah. You said you joined the union?
Yeah, so I'm in a Glazers union. It's Painters and Allied Trades is the name. It's an international union. It's worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Has being in a union impacted your job in any way?
Oh yeah, it impacted my job in a big way because more than 90% of non-union workers in doing my same job make less than half that I do. And I get, free medical insurance, dental, eye, and there's a lot of benefits and some legal protections that are in place to keep me safe, and also it's kind of in a way a community. So if you get to know the people in the union, then it's easier to network and find work when you're out of work. When times are slow,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's easier to find work when times are slow if you're good at what you do and other people know you and what you can do.
Tell me about some traditions that have been passed down through your family. When and how did they get started?
Well, say we celebrated our birthdays. Birthdays are always a fun one. I think that was my favorite. But and I also had two sisters, and but the Christmas and St. Patrick's Day and Halloween and Thanksgiving. So Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas were our biggest holidays that we celebrated in our household growing up.
And what were some of the traditions you did like? For me during for me during Christmas, I think that we kind of stopped it last year and the year before, but we would always be going out and watching whatever movies they had during Christmas because that's like the only entertainment open. And I think this year we are actually going to go and watch the new Spider-Man movie.
Ooh, I
Do you
want.
have any traditions like that?
Funny that you mention it. The movies on Christmas Day, seeing a movie in theaters,
Hmm.
that was something that we did also, but only the kids would go. The parents would stay home and relax. They'd kick us out of the house. Go watch a movie. That was, so the kids would just go watch a movie on Christmas after we opened up all the gifts and had breakfast. And then we'd go
Yeah,
watch the movie. Our parents would cook a feast because we always had a Christmas dinner with a lot of guests.
yeah,
So my mom and my stepdad would cook dinner and prepare for the guests that were coming that night. And then we'd come back home from the movie. We'd already have a few guests there. And, then we'd start help cleaning up. And of course, the kids did all the dishes.
hmm. Tell me about the person who had the greatest influence on your life. What lesson did they teach you?
um, really, my mom, my mom had the biggest impact on my life. She was always there for me. She,
Mm-hmm.
she went through some really hard times
Mm-hmm.
and just showed me through actions more than words
Mm-hmm.
that you need to follow your dreams. You need to follow your goals, no matter if you're sick or you're feeling down
Mm-hmm.
or you're unhappy or someone made you sad. Always have to follow your dreams and just be there for your family as well.
Okay. And of all the families you have ever known or heard stories about, who do you think lived the most interesting life and why?
In my family,
Mm-hmm.
um, well, my grandpa John,
Mm-hmm.
he's my dad's dad. He was
Yeah.
in World War II, and I don't know a lot about him because he died about 15 years ago, and that made me about no, he died even more than that. He died 18 years ago, and that would put me at 18 years old. And but growing up around him, he would tell all these stories. He'd always have a funny story. He'd always have a story to make you feel more inspired in yourself to want to go do something. And
Do you remember any of those stories?
yeah, there was one story that he told me. So he was in the Navy in World
Mm-hmm.
War II.
Was he fighting against the Japanese?
Yes, he was, and he was at Pearl Harbor.
Hmm.
But he was a boxer. He was a fleet boxer. So on their ships, they'd have boxing was just a big thing. And so he was one of the best boxers, and he got so good at taking people out that he got really really confident. And what he told me is that the first time that he lost a boxing match, he was the champion of, I don't know where they were at that moment, but wherever they were, they had multiple fleet ships, and he was the champion at that point. And then they put him up against somebody else for the boxing match, and they didn't tell him that he was experienced. He just assumed that the guy was a rookie because of how he looked or whatever. And that
Mm-hmm.
guy punched him in the face and made him fall asleep right there. And, and I think it was humbling of him to tell a story about him getting knocked out instead of knocking someone else out. because he was such a good boxer.
Yeah. Was he buried anywhere like Arlington or anywhere like that?
Yeah,
Like, was he given full military honor?
he was. He he didn't have. I think they turned down. I'm not sure what happened. We had bagpipes because
Hmm.
we're from Irish descent.
Yeah.
So um we had a Irish setting funeral, and he was buried at Oak Hill Cemetery in San Jose. It's the same hometown that me and Minu Masi are in.
Yeah. And that's all the questions I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, like I was kind of wondering about your school a little bit
Hmm.
and about how your school goes. Like, do you have fun at school?
Yeah, like it's wake up in the morning, get to school, hope that traffic isn't bad. Once you're in school, do your work until you get to like the 30-minute like free period, if you will, where you can either relax in the library or go to the classes you need the most help with. From there, it's get through the rest of the 2 days of class, have some lunch in between, get home, do some homework, watch TV, and go to sleep and repeat.
Sounds busy.
You know,
Do you have any extracurricular activities that you really like?
I'm not really part of any extracurricular activities, but I I was writing a book with my friend Nitin, but because the house got flooded and I didn't really have my computer and I don't like typing on the phone, uh, we won't be editing it until I come back to the house in like 3-ish weeks.
Oh wow, still that long, huh?
Yeah,
Man, they had so much work to do.
yeah. And the thing is that it would have ended this week had they not messed up the kitchen.
Yeah, I heard. I heard.
Yeah.
Well, what about any games that you like or activities that you like to do?
I like playing chess. I also like reading. You probably know that about me.
I know that. Well, we need to play chess against each other someday.
Yeah, we need to see each other. Maybe I'm pretty sure we might be coming next year during winter, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. It'll happen though, guaranteed.
Yeah.
What about
Last time we said something was guaranteed, COVID happened. So
yeah, I know. But hey, we're guaranteed to see each other again. It's gonna happen. Even if
yeah,
something gets in our way, we'll make it. We'll make sure it happens one way or another.
yeah.
Hey, so I'm curious, do you have any role models or people that made a major impact in your life?
For me, my parents have made the biggest impact on my life because together, together they were able to, together they were able to be strong, and that has really made an impact on me because I know that I'll always have a place to go. Uh, I can always come and tell them anything and they'll take it. And as long as I'm being good and as long as I am being good in my studies, then anything is possible.
Absolutely. And I know that about your parents. They are very supportive. They love you guys so much, you and your sister.
Yeah.
So what are some things you like to do with your family?
Uh, it's usually we go out, eat something outside, go go shopping, and then we come home, and then sometimes like we maybe watch a movie, and we and then we maybe go somewhere cool. But other than that, that's basically every single activity we have
Oh
done.
yeah. Well, out of the things that you said, you mentioned food. What's your favorite food?
Anything that's tasty.
Like it. It's called a seafood diet, huh? You see it, you eat
Yeah, if it's tasty, I'll eat it.
See it. If it's tasty, you eat it.
Yeah,
Nice, nice. I love it. Well, I think that's all of my questions for now, Aryan.
yeah. It's great interviewing you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you accepting me as your interviewee.
Uh, Thank you for being interviewed.
Yeah, I appreciated it. Makes me feel special. Thank you.
Uh, Once you stop the recording, could you please send it to me?
Absolutely, yeah. Nisha knows how to work the program, so she'll send it, or Minu will send it
Okay.
to you.
Love you. Bye.
Love you, Aryan. Bye bye.
Bye.